Welcome back to another episode of Muscle Car of the Week. Today, we're featuring the incredible 1971 Plymouth GTX. Let's dive into everything this car has to offer. The 1971 Plymouth GTX embodied the epitome of muscle car magnificence from its inception. Rooted in a rich history of automotive excellence, the GTX stood as a beacon of power and sophistication, epitomizing the era's pursuit of speed and style. With its sleek fuselage design and a roaring Hemi V8 engine under the hood, the GTX commanded attention on the road like no other. So have you ever wondered why the 1971 Plymouth GTX holds a revered spot in the muscle car collection despite its brief production run? Well, stick around and find out. The origin of the GT designation traces back to the 1930 Alfa Romeo 6C 1750 Gran Turismo, signifying a blend of luxury and performance. While some speculate GTX stands for Grand Touring Extra or Gentleman's Touring Extra, it's merely a catchy name created by the marketing team. Originally intended to rival the Pontiac GTO, the GTX shares a similar makeup as its iconic competitor. Rooted in the 6th generation Belvedere, the Plymouth GTX emerged in 1967 as a refined muscle car tailored for the discerning gentleman with a need for speed. Across 3 short generations, spanning a 5-year production run, the 1971 model marked a significant redesign. The 1971 Plymouth GTX 440+6 was among the precious few muscle cars from that year that needed no excuses. It was bold, it was bad. Some said it was beautiful. Both were part of Chrysler's revamped mid-size line, which also included the Dodge Charger. And both got shapely new fuselage styling on a wheelbase 1 inch shorter than before. For the 1971 model year, Plymouth managed to sell just 2,942 units of the GTX, a staggering 62% drop from the previous year. Considering Plymouth's total production of 702,113 cars in 1971, it's clear how rare the 71 GTX truly is. Among them, the rarest variants are those equipped with 426 Hemi V8 paired with a 4-speed manual transmission. Out of the 30 Hemi-powered GTX units produced, only 11 boasted the manual shifter, contributing to its status as a highly coveted classic muscle car. The creative mind behind the 1971 Plymouth GTX was John Eric Herlitz. He joined Plymouth's design team fresh from the Pratt Institute in 1964 and quickly made his mark. Among his notable creations was the Barracuda SX show car, followed by the striking 1970 Barracuda. Herlitz led the styling of the 71 GTX and its counterpart, the 71 Roadrunner. These models sported a sleeker fuselage body style, featuring a sloping windshield and a grille headlights combo tucked behind a wraparound bumper. After a 4-year run, the standalone Plymouth GTX bid farewell in 1971. The final model year saw a slight reduction in wheelbase, the discontinuation of the convertible option, and a slight power decrease in some engine choices. Despite its modern redesign, sales dwindled, plummeting to just 2,942 units by the year's end, down from less than 10,000 units in 1970. The 1971 Plymouth GTX offered 3 robust V8 engine choices, 2 440 cubic inch units, and the mighty 426 cubic inch Hemi V8. With emission regulations in play, the base 440 saw a slight drop of 5 horsepower, putting out 370 horsepower and 480 pound-foot of torque. Next up, the 440+6, equipped with 3 2-barrel carburetors, also saw a similar decrease, but still pumped out an impressive 385 horsepower and 490 pound-foot of torque. The powerhouse 426 Hemi V8 was topping the range, boasting a hefty 425 horsepower at 5,000 revs per minute and 490 pound-foot of torque at 4,000 revs per minute. Despite being marketed as a refined muscle car for the gentleman speedster, the Plymouth GTX performance was tame. Even with the base engine, it could sprint to 60 mph in 6.5 seconds and conquer the quarter mile in 14.9 seconds at 95.4 mph. The Hemi-powered versions could achieve 0 to 60 mph in under 5 seconds for those craving more adrenaline. This combination of raw power and sleek design has made the 1971 Plymouth GTX a beloved figure in pop culture, particularly among fans of the Fast and Furious franchise. In the film, the 1971 Plymouth GTX is a car driven by Dominic Toretto in the 2017 film The Fate of the Furious. Dominic uses it to steal Russian nuclear codes in New York City, but the car is later wrecked and abandoned, marking a memorable moment in the franchise that showcases the vehicle's prowess and its dramatic role in high-stakes action. Despite gaining about 170 pounds, the 71 GTX faced slightly longer quarter-mile times, extending by nearly a full second in some trials. It boasted the firmest suspension rates among Mopar intermediates, offering decent handling, though many testers found the ride uncomfortably stiff. However, beneath its sleek exterior, the GTX retained its muscle car essence, capable of hitting under 14 seconds and over 100 mph in the quarter mile. Sadly, the forces of change caught up with the GTX sooner than expected, marking 1971 as its final year. Meanwhile, the Roadrunner soldiered on until 1975, although its glory days as a true muscle car were already behind it. The GTX, however, went out with a bang, leaving behind a legacy of big cube power. In its final production year, the Plymouth GTX hit the market with a starting price of $3,733, making it the priciest member of the Satellite group. To put it into perspective, the 71 Satellite station wagon started at $3,638, while the 71 Satellite Brougham sedan began at $3,190. In comparison, the 1971 Pontiac GTO was cheaper at $3,446, and the base model of the 1971 Dodge Charger came in at $2,802. If you wanted to experience the raw power of the Hemi-powered GTX back then, you had to shell out $4,480. Fast forward to today, classic cars, especially rare ones, often fetch top dollar on the market. The current value of the 1971 GTX varies depending on its condition and the engine it packs. In September 2019, one of the 1971 GTXs, equipped with the 426 Hemi and automatic transmission, was sold for a whopping $253,000. While some examples are listed for as high as $149,950, you can still find a decent one for around $69,995. Now, what's your ultimate muscle car dream ride, and how does the 1971 Plymouth GTX compare? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe to our channel for more content on high-performance cars like the Plymouth GTX. That's all from this video. See you in the next one.